adhere to the following when addressing the council. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes or less. Comments should be directed to the council as a whole and not directed to individual council members. City Clerk, are there any registered speakers?
Mayor, there are no registered speakers.
Thank you, sir. I guess we'll now go to closed session. Thank you.
When I was young, I would tell
Good evening. I would like to call the March 12th, 2024 regular city council meeting to order. I would like to point out that this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city website. I would like to remind council to have their microphones turned on and positioned so the audience can hear. City Clerk, may we have roll call, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Kendrick.
Here.
Councilmember Krupa.
Here.
Councilmember Lilienthal.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson.
Here.
Mayor Mills.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. Do we have anyone here from the church? Any church? Malcolm, would you like to say the invocation? And afterwards, we'll have Jackie Peterson with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this evening tonight. We thank you for your guidance with the council. We thank you for giving your angels charge over everyone on their travels here, Lord, and also on their way home. And we thank you, Lord, for a blessed evening where you lead and guide us on the issues that are happening in the city so that we could make a prosperous city for everyone. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will move to the city attorney's report from closed session. City Attorney, can we get a report, please?
Good evening, Mayor. There's no reportable action out of closed session today.
Thank you, sir. We will now move to communications from the public. There is a 3-minute per person time limit for all general public comments on non-public hearing items. All who wish to speak, including council members and staff, need to be recognized by the mayor before speaking. Please state your name and item you're commenting on before speaking. We will take public comment for items listed on the agenda. And the first request will be Cecilia Morphus on 16B. Thank you.
I'm here to say thank you to all of you up there that vote for monies for the community development department, because you allocate the budget yearly. And because of your vote, because of the monies that were sent there, I was on the list. One of your departments is for low-income seniors with critical housing repairs. And so I've been through few years of being, there's now 161 of us. I've been through Gregory and Amber Perez and now Karina Hernandez. I have been on that list for a roof. And so I have a new roof because you voted for the budget. Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. I can enjoy the rain instead of emptying the bowls. I folded up my tarp. Yeah, you see where your money goes to, filling potholes, a skate park where the children, you see it, but you don't drive down Sunburst Mobile Home Park and see my roof. And I got the best roof in Hemetland, and I can listen to the rain. And it was all done so professionally. Amber with the contractor, with the bid, with the community mobile home services, the contractor. everything went so polite, so professionally. That's the only reason I'm here. I needed to tell you the money that you put into community development, which I, for these couple years, have had my number going down each time. So that's all from Cecilia. It's just, you can see where your money goes to on other projects, but you don't know what you did for this senior that's been moving the bowls around. And we've had plenty of rain. So thank you for giving me my roof. And I know there's 161, spoke with Karina, there's still seniors, and we own our home, but it's so expensive to get a roof. So I never could get enough. And because of you, because you did that, yeah.
Thank you,
so-
Cecilia. You
thank-
made us all happy here. Thank you very much. Congratulations. We will now take public comments for items not listed on the agenda. First item will be Martha E. Perez, Sierra Dawn Estates. Thank you. You didn't do the last one, but she was quick. And I could have heard her for 6 minutes. I wouldn't have said anything. She repeated. I know, that's fine.
Nombre es Marta Pérez.
My name is
Hice yo una
Martha
junta,
Perez, and I've been here at least one time.
vine el 30 de enero.
I came January 30th.
No he recibido ninguna respuesta sobre lo que les había platicado aquella vez que vine,
I haven't received a response from the last time that I spoke
sobre la asociación que nos subió ahí donde vivo, que es en la Sierra Down Estates.
It's about the item that I raised at the last meeting for the Sierra Dawn Estates related to the HOA increase.
Oh, that's right.
Nos habían dicho que nos iban a cobrar $122 cada mes y nos subió a 165.
They initially said they were going to charge us $122 a month, and they've raised it to
Ahora dicen que son 165.
they've raised it now to $165.
Aquí tengo el papel donde dice que es lo que nos iban a cobrar cada mes.
She has a paper that says, a document that says how much they're going to charge us each month.
Nomás nos subieron así por subir.
And they've raised this just to raise it.
Decían que la ciudad estaba de acuerdo.
They said that the city was aware of the increase.
O sea, la ciudad está de acuerdo en que nos suban cada año lo de la asociación.
In form of a question, the city is aware that they're increasing HOA fees each year?
Are they increasing them once a year or are they doing it constantly?
That's the question posed by the member of the public.
What's civil?
Es privado, so no estamos comunicado con ellos. Por eso.
Yo les hablé a los de la oficina y me dijeron que yo les pregunté, ¿nos están subiendo? ¿Por qué nos están subiendo? Y luego les pregunté, ¿la ciudad está de acuerdo? Y la muchacha me dijo que sí estaba de acuerdo. La ciudad.
She asked the office of Sierra Dawn Estates, are they increasing, or is the city aware that they're increasing the fees? And she states that the city is aware that they're increasing the fees for HOA.
Okay. Okay. The city, let her know the city manager will follow up with her on this, this time.
El manejador del ciudad va a comunicar con usted. Sí.
Ya
Expand.
porque ya esperé un rato y no, pensé
Okay, please.
Okay.
Huh?
¿Quién es yo? ¿Quién es esta persona? Yo,
El alcalde. En centro. Ujú.
oh, porque me dijeron que usted iba a arreglar eso.
She said that you would fix it, or you would attempt to fix it as well, Mayor.
That what?
She explains that you would attempt to fix it as well, Mayor.
Como ahí vivimos pura gente ya que no trabajamos y como que no veo que sea muy justo que nos suban así esa asociación. No sé por qué esa asociación. Yo vivía en una casa donde no pagaba eso.
We are folks that don't have, we don't work, and so we weren't aware that they were going to increase the fee.
Okay. All right. We'll look in, we're gonna look into it this time and make sure we can do something here.
Vamos a comunicar con usted. Sí. Sí. Yeah, yo tengo su número de teléfono. Ujú.
Yeah. Okay, we have her number and we'll call, wait, her number's not on this. Does she have a card or something with her number? This does not have her phone number.
We have her phone number
You have it?
previously on another speaker card, and we'll communicate that with you,
Okay.
Mayor, and I just reassured her that.
Yeah, make sure Mark gets it. So,
Got it.
okay.
Okay.
Gracias. Thank you.
Okay, gracias. Okay. Thank you, John. Next will be Dr. Stephanie Bruce. I hope. Yes, okay.
Hello.
Ooh,
No, some of you are used to me up here complaining about something, but today I'm here to thank you guys for attending. It was really special to the youth for you guys to attend our third annual Black History Celebration at Soboba. We really appreciate it. We got great feedback from the kids and a lot of the attendees and how important and how great it was to them to see our elected officials supporting and in attendance. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Okay, we're gonna move to, we only have one here. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
He wants to make a public comment.
Oh, you want to make a public comment? Did you fill out a paper? Okay, let's go because we're waiting for someone anyway, so. As long as it's good. Oh, right there at the podium.
I've lived in Hemet I've lived in Hemet for over 30 years, and I've raised my kids. I live on Fruitvale Avenue, where it's right next to Fruitvale Elementary School. And my daughter went there the first year it opened, and the street was great. We had houses were being built on the side of Fruitvale, which is one that I bought, and the other side was senior citizens. So you have senior citizens and regular houses and a school on Fruitvale. I'm talking about between Kirby and Sanderson. Well, it was great in the beginning, but after about 10, 15 years, Fruitvale became very crowded with cars. And there's like 4 or 5 times a day that parents come, take their kids, pick them up, which is great. But there's people that speed there to an intense that's horrible now. Over the years, I've come to many meetings. I don't remember any of you. I've been coming here for years, but I let it go because nothing got done about it. But now I'm very urging you all, I have a map drawn here, to do something about it because there's been head-on collisions and there's been racing. I mean, they start from Kirby, Florid, all the way down to Sanderson. We just listened to hear the crash to come. It's been awful before, but now it's out of hand. And the speeding is so bad that if you're driving down the street, it's a 2-lane in the middle now. It used to be a one, orange stripe, whatever you call it. Now it's 2, which means you don't pass. But when you're driving down that street, when I'm coming home from the market or anybody else is coming home, for some reason, people pass you with cars parked here and I'm driving and here's them passing me. They go from 50 to 60 to 70 miles an hour. I'm not kidding. And the thing that bothers me is when I was here so many times and they never took it into consideration, there needs to be speed bumps put before the school and after the school. That's the only thing that's going to stop people from doing what they're doing. Because first of all, when the two intersections, it got worse when they opened Costin, which was the other school area, when they opened up the street Costin. That gave more traffic coming to Fruitvale and Way. And they just take it as an extra street to beat traffic. So they gun it from one end to the other, and they do all kinds of donuts right at the corner of Millie Street. They're in there doing these constantly. I'm sure the police are aware of that. They've been called several times. But this has become so bad for these kids walking home from school. There's the little elementary kids. There's senior citizens that live here, and there's us that live on the other side. And I feel so bad for the senior citizens because when they bought these homes, they're beautiful little homes. They're only like 2 bedroom, 1 bath. But this was probably the last, home that they were going to buy in their life. And now they have to put up with this going on. And every time I've come here, there's been some lame excuse of, well, we'll look into it, or, well, we couldn't do it. I'm so glad to see new people here because the people who were here before were so old, I hate to say it, sitting in the chairs that they were doing this. And I'm thinking, who am I talking to here? It's like a waste of time. But I do need something done. I did a map. I'm not an engineer, but I did the best I can to pass them to you. If you could do anything to help this situation. I'm Sally Mason, by the way.
Chief, can you come up real quick? I got a question for you.
Yes.
This is speeding.
Yeah. Somebody had a question? Oh, yes. Hi. I'm fine. How are you?
Chief, my question to you is, this is like my third time I've heard somebody talk about people doing donuts in their streets and all that. Do our flock cameras, are they able to intercept this or capture this where we can do something about it with the camera systems that we have out there?
If they're in those areas and we have a specific time and date, then we could research our flock cameras and check those times and dates for that vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe she can give you that information she has there on the streets and locations where this is happening. And maybe if we have a flock camera there, we can check it or something. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My problem is traffic, the speeding. I mean, when you're on Florida, you're supposed to go 35 miles an hour. If someone was going 45 and 50, you'd see them and they'd get stopped. But they come to these residential streets and they just speed and there's nobody there. But if there's speed bumps, they can't do it.
Oh, got you. Okay, all right. Yeah,
So we can check flock and do directed enforcement, but yeah, for the speed bumps, I think that's,
that would be no.
there'll be some engineering
Yeah.
going on there
Yeah.
with that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah. You want to pass one to Noah also? Or? Okay. Okay. He needs one at the end, over there at the end. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Oh, we have another one. Okay. Can I have Alexander and Andrew come up? Or just Andrew, whoever, or whomever? Okay. Podium.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor, City Manager. Appreciate you having me tonight. I'm Andrew Kotyak with the Hemet Theater this evening. Under the many different hats, I'm passing out our latest program. I was asking to talk about the CDBG allocation. I know that's on the agenda this evening. We submitted our application. We appreciate the consideration. There's many wonderful things that we're doing there that's really changed the look and changed the direction. Just within the last 6 months, we've raised over $100,000. Sponsorship, grants, donors that are coming. We have a youth program, which is what a part of our application was. And, we're looking to revitalize downtown Hemet. on that side. So I just wanted to share our brochure. We have our new general manager, Alexander Yepremian, here this evening with us. We brought over from London, but 10 years ago or so, he was here and held some wonderful events at the theater, Voice of the Valley, some different competitions. He's performed on Broadway. He's been part of Disney, many different hats he's worn. So we're bringing that young talent back into our community. A new direction and revitalization is really our focus, as you can see in our program. So anyways, I just wanted to say thank you for the consideration. Also introduce Alexander, and if you had any questions, to be able to do that this evening as well.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. We're looking forward to seeing all the events there. So I will be participating in your what is it, a singing event or
Voice of the Valley.
Voice of the Valley? There you go.
No, that would be wonderful. Yeah, we do have judges, and our company does sponsor quite a bit. So we extend to seniors, city council, others that would like to come and attend. Please feel free to reach out. Our company does host and is willing to share our sponsorship as well on our behalf, so you can see and partake, especially when we have the youth groups. There's nothing like seeing children that never get to go to a theater, never get to see dancing or live music or arts, come and embrace that for the first time in their life. And for many of them, it changes their life going forward. And that's one thing that really got me into the arts, being born and raised here and going through. And I attribute to my creativity is, when you look at CEOs like AMD or famous CEOs, a lot of them have a passion for art that they've embraced. And even though they're able to embrace book smarts or engineering, they've got this creative side. And so we're looking forward to introducing that to the youth in our community and using that to elevate. And since we have so many young people moving here and our demographics are changing, we think it's a really nice thing to embrace and push forward. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. That is it, right? No more. Okay, we're going to move on to presentations. We have two, huh? What's that? We have two presentations, two proclamations we'll be passing out today. One is for Red Cross, and it's going to be Susan Tovey. Yes, Susan will be accepting the proclamation for the Red Cross. And let's go with it.
Yes. Okay. Moral support from me. This is a long one. The City of Hemet proclamation for the American Red Cross Month. Whereas March is American Red Cross Month, a special time to recognize and thank our everyday heroes, those who reach out to help their neighbors when they are in need. And whereas American Red Cross heroes are on the front lines every day, they volunteer their time, give blood, take life-saving courses, or provide financial donations to help those in need. And whereas we would like to remember our heroes here in Riverside County who give their help to people in need. They work tirelessly to help in time of disaster when someone needs life-saving blood or the comfort of a helping hand. They provide round-the-clock support to members of the military, veterans, and their families, and teach life-saving classes in CPR, aquatic safety, and first aid. And whereas across the country and around the world, the American Red Cross responded to hurricanes, to wildfires, atmospheric rivers, to tornadoes. In 2023, the Northern California coastal region served more than 95,000 meals and 108,000 snacks with partners. They also distribute $1.36 million in financial assistance to hundreds of people affected by local disasters. And whereas when an injured service member ended up in a hospital far from home, the American Red Cross offered comfort. When a hospital patient needed blood, American Red Cross blood donors helped them. When a lifeguard jumped in to save a drowning child or someone stepped up to help a heart attack victim, the American Red Cross was there. And whereas we dedicate the month of March to all those who support the American Red Cross mission to prevent and alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies. Our community depends on the American Red Cross, which relies on donations of time, money, and blood to fulfill its humanitarian position. Now for the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2024 as American Red Cross Month. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I have to say it's, oh,
Go ahead, keep talking.
okay. It's really an honor. I've been with the Red Cross for about 14 years and I'm a volunteer and it's amazing. When you, and I come down to Hemet a lot, so we do need volunteers in Hemet because I'm out in Murrieta. But, you know, when there's a house fire or some reason that somebody's displaced from their home, we get called and we go out there and we talk to them, and we're actually able to give them a credit card right on scene, which will give them enough money to get a hotel room for several nights, maybe a little bit of food and clothing for each person. And that is only, and of course, that's a gift from the American people. They don't have to pay it back. And that's what, when people donate to the Red Cross, that allows us to be able to do that. It's so amazing to be a part of that particular part of it, because when I come up, when the police and fire call us, you know, to come and see if we can help the people, I've come up sometimes and they're just sitting on the curb in front of their house waiting because they don't know what to do. They've got no place to go, you know. So we talk to them, and again, you know, we're able to give them some financial assistance. And if they need other things like further assistance with their recovery, we connect them with people that can help them out with that. So there's so many things that you can do with the Red Cross. I encourage all of you to check your heart and see if that's something that you'd like to do. You're a volunteer, you serve when you have the time, and we'll take it. Anyway, I guess I said, I didn't know I was really supposed to talk, so I don't know what to say. Okay, thank you.
Susan, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to our next presentation. Now, this presentation is really a special one, just like the Red Cross was, but this is a homegrown individual here. Her name is Shelly Abbott. She earned the Red Wing 2020 Wall of Honor, and she's a third generation driller. Her grandpa started drilling, her dad started drilling. They had her, they said, oh, well, we'll teach her how to drill. So they taught her how to drill. Ladies and gentlemen, Shelly Abbott, and a video, if you wouldn't mind watching the video.
When I was young, I would tell my grandpa, I'm going to be a driller just like you when I grow up. We're good. And he would laugh. I don't think he took me seriously. I am the third generation of owner-operators in my family. We're good? All right.
Good luck at work tomorrow, Mom.
See you when I get back. Thank you. Love you.
You too. Good luck.
I was into it because it was what my grandpa did. It was what my dad did, you know, and it was a family thing. And there's a lot of pride in all of that. It looks like it's pipe only, so there's no cage.
No cage.
Even though I'm the third generation in the family business, nothing was handed to me. I'm quite often the only woman on a job site. Being a woman in the trades, that was hard because I just wanted to go to work and I got harassed or I'd be treated different. You could say whatever you want to me, but when I'm done with that job, they're gonna eat those words. I've been drilling over half my life, But the greatest accomplishment in my life is being the mother to my son. JD was born with numerous orthopedic impairment issues. And then they took him and put him in a room because they weren't sure if he could breathe. And I held him for a few minutes. And he gave me drive. He gave me a reason. I wanted to give him the world. Was I scared about his disabilities? I wasn't scared, but I just took it as it came and I went to whatever doctor I had to go to. The doctors told me JD wouldn't ever be able to do sports. So, yeah, I wasn't stoked to hear my kid can't do sports, but I didn't believe that sentence anyway. Shortly after purchasing my home, we dug right into the ground and started building my son a skate park. I know what it's like to be taken at face value, and I never wanted my son to accept the limitations that others might place on him. Watching my son skate now, I'm very proud because he's got the confidence and he goes super fast and he loves it. Like, to watch how he's progressed means everything to me. I've had lots of things thrown at me through life that have been very difficult, and I overcome them. And I try to keep pushing. I just try to keep turning to the right, because that's what the auger does. Just keep turning to the right.
Come on up.
That's a wonderful story. I'm so happy that you're homegrown and that you're keeping this tradition, and it's just wonderful. So, the City of Hemet, California proclamation for Women's History Month. Whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of the City of Hemet in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Women play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of life in the City of Hemet. Particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions in our city, women have served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. And whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist, emancipation, industrial labor, civil rights, and peace movements, which have created a more fair and just society for all. And whereas despite these contributions, the role of women has consistently been overlooked and undervalued in the literature, leadership, teaching, and study of American history, and it is therefore fitting that we recognize their numerous accomplishments. You're gonna make me cry. Now, therefore, Joe Mills, Mayor of City of Hemet, along with the Hemet City Council, do hereby proclaim the month, and I was doing so good, the month of March as Women's History Month, and encourage all residents to participate in events to commemorate and honor women and history of their contributions to our community and nation. Presented March 12th, 2024. And I congratulate you. It's a wonderful story. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very honored. Would you like to say something? If you can.
Yeah, I only speak from the heart.
I just want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Jackie presented this to you. She's a 20-year Navy woman, so two strong women standing here, one giving a proclamation to the other. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I come from strong women. My mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother. These boots are actually, these are Red Wing too, and these were the first boots ever made these style for women, and my great grandmother wore them as well. And so I wear these when I dress up, not to work. I wear women's steel toes now. When Red Wing found me in 2020, said they were looking for women that were pioneers in the trade, and they established this thing in 2018 where they hang tradesmen and tradeswomen boots on this wall. And what they do is they honor them for their hard work and their dedication for their work, you know, and we want to let people know that there's a good life working in trades, and we don't really let kids know that, or we're taught them to, you know, go to college. Even my father thought he'd scare me to go to college by getting me out there, but he didn't get that. He was taking me to job sites since I was like, could walk before then. And I loved it. I fell in love with it, being able to be outside, and we did geology work, and I just fell in love with it. And it, you know, how could you push me away from that when I was just all about it. And I listened to my father, and I have a really strong work ethic, and I'm very proud of what I do. I'm a 6th generation tradesperson, so it goes very far back in my family. And being female, you know, like, it's something that I didn't ever want to be going out to a job site and being like, okay, here I am a woman, hear me roar, I'm too loud to ignore. I didn't want to be like that. I wanted to just be there and, you know, and let me be, just let me do what I want to do. Let me drill, because I'm a drilling contractor and I want to do it. And it was really difficult, especially in my 20s, young, because I was intimidated. And I think one of the things with doing anything is, the person that's hardest on you is yourself, you know, thinking you can't. And so anybody, I think that just, you know, my dad has some things that I try to tell anybody, and teaching them something is the only way to learn is to get out there and do it. And the best school is the school of actual experience. And one of the other best things he ever taught me was, you try this, and if this don't work, you try that. And if that don't work, you try something else. And what that means is you just don't give up, and you don't quit, and you just think, you know, and if this isn't working, well, then think a little bit more, and, you know, you'll get it done. And I'm very proud to be still old school in the way I work. You know, I still carry that, you know, way of thinking as my father and my dad in making things happen to get a job done. Like, I will fabricate something to get the hole done. I run a skid steer. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that skid steer has drilled up to a 6-foot diameter, and I've gone 27 feet in the ground with it as a skid steer. So that's pretty impressive, because my dad fabricated that tool that's on the front of my machine. So I'm very happy to be dad's little girl, grown up, and I'm very proud to be like a legacy of drillers in my family, and being a female and a woman doing it. And I'm very proud to be a woman, but I'm not out there like trying to say, you know, hey, here I am. I'm just there. I'm an avid driller. So thank you very much, everyone.
And we have Chief Ariano provide the presentation of the Police Department for 2023 annual report, please.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. All right, I'm going to present some slides here. This is 2023, the year past, our annual report. We will have a hard copy, more detailed, coming out about a little over a week. We'll have that done. They're working hard on it. And while I'm going through this, you guys can stop me at any point, ask me any questions you got. So this is 2022. These are calls for service, police events. That's total police events. I put 2022 and 2023 just to have something to compare to. As you can see, 2023 total police events, we had an increase of 650 calls. 911 calls into dispatch, an increase of 3,390. And our arrests were lower than the year prior. Technology upgrades. This is something you guys approved a couple council meetings back. 20 AOPR flock cameras for a total of 67, which will be in the city. Not all installed yet. We're still working on that. 33 Condor cameras. These are the pan tilt 360 cameras. that we're working on getting ordered and implementing as well. 4 Live View Technology mobile service surveillance cameras. We just received those about 2 weeks ago, and today was actually the first day we launched the first one at Famous Footwear, like I said we would. And funny thing is, they were out there. They pulled the trailer out. These are mobile, so we can put them anywhere, anytime, for however long we need it. And as they're sitting out there, a tow truck, a big tow truck pulls up, and they have another LVT camera on this truck. And Mo, it's like, where is this coming from? So Famous Footwear was already ordering this for a test trial, and when they saw ours and we were talking, so they're very appreciative. They're going to put that in a different location, but they were very appreciative that the city of Hemet is taking, being proactive in this element instead of them having to do it themselves. So that was a very good experience out there. With the additional cameras that was approved this couple council meetings ago, we're going to have a total of 104 total cameras throughout the city. And that's not including our drone first responder program, which is out there flying daily flights, responding to these calls for service. Real-time information center. Again, anytime you guys want to come through, they're working with on the last details with IT. I think IT is going to come in on Friday, either this Friday or next Friday, to get everything installed. And we should have that up and running in about 2 weeks on the real-time information center. This next slide. This next slide is our violent crime per 100,000. And this goes back to 2012. So it's comparing 2012 to 2023. You can see where we started, how high we got in 2015, 2016. And about the mid 2016, we've been going down ever since. We had a small spike in 2022, but we're now below state average, which is great for California. And we're just about at the national average. And this is still not the very end. We still haven't got the last numbers yet for the year. And I believe we're going to be below national average as far as violent crime per 100,000. Any questions on that? Yeah, we're adding this to our, we need to do it. Yeah, probably more social media. But yes, we do need to advertise it. To debunk all the people that are saying the opposite. This is property crimes per 100,000. Again, going back to 2012. We started 2012, goes up in 2013. As you can see, it's going down ever since 2016. We had that spike. Again, we're below state average, and we're just about even with national average. I'll bet you we're below once we get the last numbers in, and we can advertise that once we get those in. And those should be in the actual hard copy of the annual report. Here's the average response times for 2023. You have your color coded. Blue is how long it took for dispatch. Orange is en route time on the way to the call. We got gray there, how long it took to arrive to the call's average, and then total time. So our average response time in 2023 was 19.3 minutes. That's all of our calls, all the priorities. So that's the average. We're still, I couldn't tell you the numbers, but we are below average. And I can get that for you guys if you're interested in that. But we are below average for response times. Looking into the future, 2024, we have some operational changes. I know I'm missing some of these. I'm excited about this year. I keep telling everybody we're going up from here. So one of the first things I did when I became chief, due to the needs at the time, I'll explain it. Traffic division and ROC's team were temporarily combined. This is a little over a year ago to better address our traffic and quality of life concerns. In mid-January of this year, I made the decision to split the two bureaus so that each of them could focus on their specific job duties. The split between the two bureaus was officially January 23rd, just a little over a month ago, not that long ago. The separation has quickly proven to be a successful on both fronts. And besides that, I'll get to this at the end, but I know we talked about this, and I think you, Mayor, you said, when are we going to implement this new schedule? We are implementing this next shift change, which is in May. So again, another positive. Traffic division, this is as of the separation. These are some of the positives we're seeing since we separated the two. And I say that it wasn't bad, that it was needed at the time. It wasn't a bad thing, but they have specialized duties and they need to focus on traffic, and the ROC's team needs to focus on quality of life. And when I had one of the sergeants return, I was able to get a sergeant and place them in ROC's. I gave them my expectations. They're focused on quality of life issues, same as traffic. So traffic division goals: continue to provide and make additional improvements to customer service, bring in new technology. We're always looking for that. Retool and rebuild staff through advanced training and pride in the assignment. So with that being said, that means Jared Flores, he's our Motor One officer. He just graduated motor training school this week, I think Friday, I believe it was. So now we have our own in-house motor officer trainer. He can train our own motors, and he can train other departments as well. So that's taking pride in the assignment. Traffic division changes since the separation. Our C-click fix response times have decreased from 7 to 8 days. Essentially, it was from 7 to 8 days to the day of entry or the next day is when they're getting completed, these C-click fix entries. Weekly team meetings, briefings are more consistent, which has improved scheduling events. It's got off here, and focusing on directed areas of enforcement. So I get these complaints that come in all the time. We had the one at the, I think, intersection of Four Seasons. And I'm able to now tell the traffic bureau and sergeant, hey, this is the issues we're having. The lady that came up tonight and talked about Kirby, we'll be able to do some directed enforcement. And it's much easier doing it that way than trying to combine the two teams. Now I have some guys who are trying to do traffic items, but they're really specialized in doing quality of life stuff. So their hearts are not in it. But when I have the traffic bureau doing traffic stuff, that's what they want to do. That's what they applied for. So now they're out there handling these issues. OTS grant is a main focus of traffic again. So they were trying to split their duties. The sergeant's trying to supervise both bureaus at the same time. Now he can focus on this OTS grant. Traffic division is approximately 34% further along with the department's grant objectives compared to the same time last year. So we've accomplished more of our goals than we did this same time last year. Traffic division has scheduled 2 traffic community outreach events for March and April. Let's see here. I'm sorry, mine's cut off here. March and April, and will be completed annual objective for OTS. This objective was not completed in the last grant cycle until October. So we're getting ready to complete that, one of the objectives that wasn't completed till October of last year. We also have some collaborative enforcement coming up. Day has been scheduled for in April with Beaumont and Menifee Police Departments, in which motor officers from all 3 agencies will be in the city of Hemet conducting primary collision factor enforcement. And that's a big, I'm pushing that to work with these other cities, surrounding cities. We'll give the love back to them, especially when we're trying to fill the motor positions. This is a good way to get the enforcement out there. I don't think I had it in here, but I know there's a day as well coming up with the Riverside Sheriff's Department where we're going to be doing a DUI checkpoint as well in the city. All right, I'm going to try to go slow on this one. This can get confusing, but this is really important. This is going to show you what they did last year, 2023, and compared to what they've done since January 23rd of this year. So just a little over a month. Felony cases, last year, a total of 133. So that's transported to jail. This year we have, since January 24th, 16. Now you do that 12 months, we're looking at 192 for the year. Misdemeanor cases. We've got 196 for the whole year of 2023 so far. In a little over a month, we have 105, which should, on average, should be about 1,260 misdemeanor cases for this upcoming year. Infractions, 226 for the year of 2023. So far, we're at 226 so far, we're at 103. So we're looking at about 1,200, a little over 1,200 infraction cases as well. Hemet municipal citations issued, total of 196. So far, we're at 48, which should be approximately almost 600 Hemet Muni Code citations for this upcoming year. And this is with a sergeant and 3 detectives. And I plan to build a bureau still, at least 2 more detectives as soon as we get the bodies. It's only going to get better from here. Let's see here. Housing offer, that's an important one. Last year, 693 were offered housing. So far, we've offered 104 in a little over a month. we're looking at about 1,248 we'll be offering housing to. Individuals housed last year, 119. Let's see, for next year, we're looking a total about 432. 16 by 6 foot trailer trash dumped. These are your trailers, your big trailers that they're hauling all the encampments and the trash that people are dumping on the roads. We had a total of 162 of those trailers dumped last year. So far this year, let's see. Well, the average, mine's cut off, but the average is we're going about 516 for the year is what we're looking at. Encampments cleaned up and removed. So far for the year on the trash trailer dumped, we've hauled 43 of those trailers so far. Encampments cleared and removed, 182 so far this year. Last year we had 196. We're almost at that number that we had the entire year last year, and we're at that in just over a month. Those are the numbers we're at now. And that's because we have consistent enforcement out there 4 days a week. The goal is 7 days a week. We'll get there. And the last one I'll talk about is the trespasses removed. So far this year, we have 271. Last year, we had 38. I don't know if they weren't taking the statistics correct or if it wasn't a focus for the team, but I definitely said this is a focus this year. If there's trespassers, you will remove them. They need to move on from in front of the businesses, soliciting and whatnot. So far this year, we've had 271. We're looking at an average of, for the year, 3,252 of those cases. And I can go on and on.
Real quick,
Yes, sir.
Chief, on the trespassers, does the 602 form seem to be working? for the
Absolutely, and I'm
businesses?
sure, absolutely, and I'm sure that's playing a big factor in this as well. It makes it much easier for us to remove that person, whether we're taking them to jail or telling them to move on with those letters in place. So yes, it is.
Mayor, where do you get the 602 form from?
You can go to our website. You can go to the front counter at the station. I'm not sure if City Hall has them or not, but or just call our station. And if you're a business, you call our station, we'll get one out to you.
There's I think it's closed down, but it used to be, there's some kind of facility that's behind the park, the Gibble Park. It's like right next to it, and I think it's closed down.
Yeah.
And the lady was saying that she had to hire a security guard because people kept breaking in there. And so I told her to get a 602 letter, but I didn't know where to get it from. So
Yeah, you can find them on our webpage, or we can go, she can come to the front
under
counter.
which tab on the webpage?
I'd have to go on there, but it's really easy to find. I think we have it on one of the front pages. Which,
There's some printed out at the office in that desk across from Demi. You see all those.
Oh, okay. Okay.
602 forms in them.
but I have no issue with sending an officer out there, one of our ROCS detectives out there, and giving her a form. That way they can explain it to her in person. I know the building you're talking about, so I wasn't aware of it. And it's important, if you talk to her again, to tell her to please let us know about that so that especially the night shift guys can go out there and walk the perimeter of the business.
It's like gated, I think that's why.
Oh, yeah, it's got a cinder block and a gate out front. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Business resources.
Chief, I have a question. You mentioned the traffic community outreach for March and April. Can you describe what that is, what you guys do and where it might be held? That kind of thing?
Yeah, so I think I was talking mostly about this focused community outreach as far as going to Stony Mountain Ranch and the motor officers going out there and having a meeting with them or talking to, or educating somebody out there. If somebody calls and they have a question about speed bumps, not a lot of people want speed bumps, we can't do that, but they can explain other avenues we can take, or they can get the hours that they're having these issues, such as on Fruitvale between Kirby and Sanderson. That's community outreach, talking to the citizens. And we can hold a meeting out there if we need to with the citizens the senior citizens that live across the street. That's where I think we lose those little touches when we had the two teams combined together, so I think those are the things we're going to get back by splitting the two teams. And I talked about the schedule change. Last but not least, I know it's really hard to see, but it's in place. And so what you're seeing here is 4 shifts. Your first shift's gonna start at 6 o'clock in the morning. Nothing's gonna change with that. It's all gonna look the same. Start at 6 and end at 6. What is different is the green in the center. Those are our relief shifts, we're calling them. And so we did our own surveys and we know when our busiest times are. It usually kicks in about 10 o'clock in the morning was when the calls start to increase. So we're going to start with the sergeant and corporal at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 officers. With this, forgot to mention, we currently have 5 beats in the city. That means 5 districts, 5 areas. We used to have a 4-beat system and I think that worked best. And I think this is going to work best with this schedule here. We're going back to the 4-beat system. So what that does, I have a sergeant and a corporal and 5 officers. So essentially that 5th officer will be a cover officer. And so when an officer's stuck at the hospital, transporting someone to jail or on a call for service, that 5th officer is a cover. He can go and essentially cover for that officer in whatever beat it is. But at 10 o'clock, when the calls start to kick in, you'll have 3 officers and a CSO coming on at 10. So that's going to get some relief. Now you have a higher number of officers out on the street at the same time, which is also going to be, you're going to get more proactivity out there. And then at 4 o'clock, you have another shift of 2 to 3 officers coming on and another CSO. So at some point you're going to have, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 to 14 officers out there, 10-8, which is available at one time. But the plan is, and that starts at 4 o'clock. So for 2 hours, you're going to have that many officers out there. I don't remember the last time we had that many officers, 10-8, out in the streets at the same time. What that affords is the first shift that comes on at 6, what happens often is they get arrests in custody that they have to finish those reports that day by the end of the night. And so now they're stuck working 6 to 6. They don't get to start that report until 6 o'clock. And they're there till 7, 8. So it's going to be a decrease in overtime as well. They can actually come in 2 hours early, take off their vest, sit down at a computer and start writing that in custody report while we have these other officers covering those hours. And we're still not fully staffed. And as the numbers come in, it's only going to get better. So with that said, I'm going to knock on wood now, but so far we're doing good for the year. I think we're going to keep doing good. No homicides up to this point for the year. Our crime will hopefully continue to trend downward. And the goal is to get it below national average and continue going below. And I think we're going to be really close. It's going to be, we're going to meet that goal this year. Absolutely. And something if you hadn't heard, we recently had a homicide case where they heard it, the one that happened on South Gilbert. I'm amazed how quickly it happened. 4 months, and the suspect was sentenced to 26 years. So that's a win in itself. So, and that's the hard work the guys and girls do here and our detective bureau does.
Thank you, Chief.
No further questions?
Any questions?
I have a couple. Yes, good work. That's not a question. That's a comment. How many motors do we currently have and what's your goal?
We currently have a sergeant, a corporal, and 2 motors. And the corporal's riding, the sergeant rides as well every once in a while. I believe we have 6 motorcycles, so.
Okay, so we can,
Oh, absolutely. I have motorcycles to be ridden, yes. They're
Okay.
just sitting there, absolutely.
and how many canines do we have?
We have 2 apprehension canines. We have a dog, we have a gun and ammo canine, and we have a bloodhound. We have Angel, of course, station dog.
Yes. I field a lot of questions from organizations in the community who want to give money for canines. You're accepting money for canines, I assume.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I know we got a pretty good donation from a citizen recently, and that will probably buy 1 dog for sure, but we obviously, a car comes with it and all the equipment and whatnot. So yes, always looking for donations for canines.
Very good. Thank you very much. And yes, you guys are doing a good job.
Are the Elks still providing dogs for you or?
They're supporting us. I know they're doing fundraisers. I think there's going to be a fundraiser here soon at the Eagles on South State for the canines specifically, and maybe for
Okay.
Baker to Vegas as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to the consent calendar. Are there any items that the council would like to pull?
I would like to pull 15A.
Is that it on yours?
That's it.
Okay. Councilmember Kendrick? No. Councilmember Lilienthal?
Just about, instead of pulling it, if no one else has anything, if the city manager could just explain, or for the eval corp, is it possible that we could get like the evaluation outcomes, the lessons learned, and like just a report on how they benefit that, you know, that whole PAC team, how they benefit our valley, like and so they could report out how those different agencies work together and improve public safety.
So on 15D, the eval corp item, we will share the results of that documentation with the council and the community. So what it is essentially an assessment of how the retail theft grant progresses. So that's a requirement of the grant. And then with respect to the PAC team, we can present you some information on the work that they do, and similar to the presentation on the police department statistics this year, just share with you and the community the good work that they're doing.
Okay, okay. Councilmember. Good. Okay, I'm good. Then the only one we're pulling is 15A. Can I get a vote on the remainder, please, to pass?
I'll make the motion to pass everything but A, but 15A.
Second, please.
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Lowenthal, second by Mayor Pro Tem Peterson. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 5-0 to approve the consent calendar with the removal of item 15A for separate consideration.
Thank you. Councilmember Krupa?
Yes, my question on 15A is towards the end of the minutes. In fact, almost at the very end of the minutes, there is a sentence that says Mayor Males approved an ad hoc with Councilmember Lilienthal and Krupa for the arts and culture. I was under the impression that we had to bring that back as a future agenda item, and I just want clarification whether we are currently an ad hoc or if we have to come back at another meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Krupa. I was advised by the city attorney that number one, this probably could have been written just slightly different in the sense of by consensus, the city council approved this because the recommendation was proposed on the floor. We did add it to this agenda. And so what I would recommend is that we actually vote on this tonight to be officially approved on our future agendas. It currently stands on our ad hoc list at the bottom of our agenda. And if the attorney wants to add, those are my comments there.
Do we need the minutes of last meeting corrected in that statement?
Yeah, so my recollection was, you know, the ad hoc committee was being created. It wasn't on the agenda.
Correct.
So the mayor, as his prerogative, announced that he would like to be creating this. It is placed as item 10 under the ad hoc committee reports. I think it would be wise to record a vote approving that committee and the assignments. And in terms of the minutes perhaps being more artfully drafted, you know, I'm in a glass house, so I'm not going to throw stones. I draft a lot. But I think that we understand that, you know, perhaps we could put a notation on the minutes that it was directed to be on this agenda for final approval.
Good. And I'm definitely okay with that. So if no other questions or comments, I will make a motion to approve the minutes 15A.
I get a second?
I'll second.
Council, please cast your votes. I have a motion by Councilmember Krupa, second by Councilmember Kendrick. That motion passes 5-0.
We will now move on to discussion action items. 16A. 16A, please.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I was waiting for the PowerPoint. Veronica Allen, Management Analyst with the City Manager's Office. The Community Development Block Grant aligns with council-adopted objectives under quality of life, partnership and collaboration, and community engagement. For fiscal year 24-25 CDBG program, the city received 28 applications, 7 for city operations, 20 for nonprofit agencies, and 1 for-profit agency. City planning and administration doesn't require an application to be submitted. The fiscal year 23-24 HUD allocation is $827,276. This is the amount used to estimate the allocation for fiscal year 24-25 because HUD has not published the 24-25 allocation. Once the 24-25 HUD CDBG allocation is published, these funding recommendations will be adjusted based on a percentage basis. Also, $201,753.20 from fiscal year 21-22 and 22-23 will be reallocated in fiscal year 24-25 for public housing infrastructure projects. The approximate total to be allocated is $1,029,029.20. This slide reflects the amount requested by the nonprofit agencies or city department for public services and the CDBG recommended allocation from the ad hoc committee. The ad hoc has recommended funding for these organizations: Police Explorers, $10,000, Caravan, $10,000, Community Pantry, $15,000, Exceed, $9,000, My City Youth, $17,500, Together with Disabilities, $2,500, Valley Restart Shelter, $22,500, Valley-wide Youth Scholarship, $10,000, Voices for Children, $10,000, Historic Hemet Theater, $10,000, and Black Voices of the Valley, $7,500. There is a 15% cap for all public services that can be allocated. The estimated amount is $124,000. This slide reflects the amount requested by the nonprofit agency or city department for housing, public facilities, and the CDBG recommended allocation from the ad hoc committee. Ad hoc is recommending an allocation of approximately $736,574 for housing, public facilities. The ad hoc committee's recommendations are code enforcement, $158,711. This is the same level funding as fiscal year 22-23 and current year 23-24. Engineering accessible sidewalk and ADA ramps at $200,000. The Senior Disabled Home Repair Program, $199,778. This is the same level funding as current fiscal year. Housing Division's ADA Program, $50,000, same level funding as current fiscal year. Library Services, Security Services, $28,085, same level funding as current fiscal year. Rental Property Rehabilitation Program, $100,000. This includes the $201,753 to be reallocated. This slide reflects the amount for planning and administration. Services from the Fair Housing Council is a requirement for the city to receive CDBG funding. Their allocation is $46,000. The city's administration and planning of the grant is currently an estimated amount of $122,455.20 and will be adjusted once the 24-25 CDBG allocation is published. And there's a 20% cap for planning and administration. The council is being asked to consider the ad hoc committee's funding recommendations and approve the recommendations or request the ad hoc committee to provide a revised CDBG funding recommendation based on council feedback. This concludes the presentation. Thank you.
Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yeah, definitely.
Miss Veronica, can you explain the 15% cap?
It's a HUD requirement that only 15% of the entire CDBG allocation for the year can be allocated to public services.
And that in public services includes what?
That would be homeless shelter, transportation services, everything that was listed under public services, and everything that was listed on the staff report. That is in blue. So My City Youth, Together on Disabilities, Valley Restart Shelter, the Youth Scholarship Program, Voices for Children, the Explorers Program, VIP Tots, Central County United Way.
And then we had the 20% cap for the with the one with the, for everything in green.
20% cap on planning and administration. That's also a HUD requirement that you can't go over the 20%.
So what about for the housing and public facilities? Is there a cap on that?
There's no cap on that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I do have a comment. And I just wish there were more funds.
Me too.
You know, I look at this and all of these things are either definite, desperate needs or things that are going to improve our community. I'm just really sad, disappointed that we can't fund Michelle's place in Temecula. Both Carly and I have utilized that place with our cancers. And it wasn't until I was diagnosed that I really found out how many people from this community take and receive the services from Michelle's place. So it's my only comment.
I was also thinking on the Together on Disabilities, they help a lot of children there too, and we're only giving them 2,500. I just, you know, just had a concern there. But the cancer one too, you know. I had cancer. So I might be going there.
I think the ad hoc committee did a pretty good job, and I'm satisfied with the way it reads now. So
It is really tough going through all of these.
Well, she's just your friend, that's why. It's fine. I mean, we can push it through. We can vote on it.
The staff report says we're here to review and discuss. It doesn't say approve. Are we here to approve?
My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Veronica, but their approval would have to occur to notice public hearing for this. I believe their approval has to occur to notice public hearing. And we need to indicate that we're asking them to take that action.
We will take these recommendations, and then it will go into the annual action plan. And that's when council will approve the annual action plan.
So to answer your question, Councilmember Krupa, you are correct.
Oh, just discussion, okay.
And the council could also look at the public housing infrastructure allocation. Projects there like sidewalk repair. Just from a liability perspective, just
Yes.
bringing that to your attention, Council.
Okay. I'm okay with the way it is right now, but whoever's on this committee next time, please go back to Michelle's place.
Thank you.
So Mayor, it would be appropriate for the council to receive a motion directing staff to bring forward these proposed allocations at a future action plan approval hearing.
You heard him.
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendations.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilmember Kendrick, second by Mayor Pro Tem Peterson. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next, we have item 16B. Can we have a staff presentation, please?
Yes, Mayor, I'll begin the presentation tonight. Possibly one of the longer titled items this year, right? In late summer or early fall of 2023, a rare opportunity was presented to the city in the form of a project that would deliver affordable housing for a city that today has 0 units completed under its regional housing needs allocation goal of 812 by 2029. And at the same time, present funding for critical infrastructure projects in the context of bike lanes on Menlo, as well as bike lanes and pedestrian paths on the railroad right away between Menlo and Acacia, which would essentially connect back to Palm and connect to the improvements that the city council invested in 2023 on Palm. In addition to that, the project presented an opportunity to complete a mobility hub that had been discussed over 40 public meetings in the 2017-2018 timeframe. Since that time, the staff has worked aggressively with the developer Palm Communities for the Palm Villas project to work together on negotiating an agreement with RCTC, Riverside County Transportation Commission, for use of the railroad right away. It's considered an active railroad. And so because of that, in order to preserve that active status, it would be necessary for any pedestrian or bikeway improvements to place some form of a fence between the tracks and the pedestrian use. We've worked out the arrangements and have presented to you tonight a draft agreement for approval for use of that corridor. It would require maintenance from the city. And as you know, on January 31st, 2024, we held a public meeting. Each of the council members had an opportunity to observe that evening. A robust turnout of over 70 people that provided us some important and helpful feedback on some of the contemplated improvements. This work also required an effort to sit down with RTA, Riverside Transit Authority, to work on elements in support of construction and maintenance and security of the mobility hub that's contemplated. And tonight it comes together just in time for the city to jointly apply for funding through the state. The application is due March 19th. And with that, I'd like to introduce Mitch Sligerman with Palm Communities to orient you again with the overview of the project. And we have representatives of RTA, the developer and staff that were available to answer any questions you have.
Good evening, members of the City Council. Mitch Sligerman with Palm Communities. This isn't my first time addressing you, and I've met all of you individually as well. Some of us going back several years with Councilmember Kruppa actually took a tour of one of our sites in Moreno Valley quite a ways. So our relationship on this specific project is going back several years, although Palm Communities has been a member of this community for over 20 years. We own and operate Hemet Vistas, which is at the corner of State and Fruit Ridge, right across the street from the Superior Court. It's a 146 unit affordable housing complex. that's, as I've said, been here for many years. But we're so excited that we're at this stage of a process that, as Mr. Prestowich has said, is kind of started last summer, although the housing process has been a lot longer. But when we saw this opportunity to partner with the city as well as with RTA, we thought it was an exciting opportunity to work together. That's having been a former city employee myself for many years, I really enjoy the public-private partnership. And this has been one of the best ones that I've ever been part of, particularly working with staff and also being so impressed with the engagement with your community residents who participated in that community meeting on the 31st. I said it that night, I'll say it again, I've never seen that level of engagement as well as support and coming with open mind. I've been at a lot of community meetings where there's a lot of pitchforks and torches and threats, and this was a real collaborative effort. So, and not only at the community level, but also with the staff. Appreciate Mr. Prestowich, when he found out about this opportunity, really saw that there was an this opportunity to mesh affordable housing with economic development as well as building transportation infrastructure. So as stated, there are three main components of this project. There's a 106 unit affordable housing project. That's the first phase of a 147 unit project, but we're only built, the funding for this is just for the first 109 units. There will be bike and pedestrian trails along the RCTC corridor, as was mentioned, as well as bike lanes along Menlo. And then, of course, there'll be the mobility hub that will be built in the downtown sector. So what we're seeing and what we're planning for and hoping will happen is that we're activating your downtown. So that's the economic development activity through the mobility hub, but also creating a transportation corridor for bicyclists and pedestrians from our project that's located at Menlo and State Street all the way down into the downtown. And of course, that corridor extends all the way down to Palm, as Mr. Prestowich said. So we're very excited about this. The amount of investment that could come to the city if we're successful with this application totals $86 million. And that the grant and application that we're submitting next week is for about $38 million. 22 of that is going for the housing and about 15 for infrastructure, and about $1 million in programs, most of which will be focused on also on our residents at the affordable housing site for enhanced services and free internet for 3 years, as well as bus passes. So not only are they building housing and we're building a mobility hub, but we're giving residents an access to actually use the facilities that we hope to be building. So the housing project by itself is estimated to be $70 million. So all total, about $86 million of new investment in your community if we're successful. We're looking to submit that next week with allocations will be made in August. So if we're successful, we can get started with the infrastructure part in August or as soon thereafter as the city and RTA are ready to go. And Palm will then apply for tax credits with that last bit of funding and hopefully get started probably in June of next year. So we're very excited. I'm available for any questions as well as RTA staff that are here, but we look forward to and ask for your support for the items that are being asked of you to approve this evening. Thank you.
I have some comments and some questions, and I do want to say, yeah, it was quite a few years ago that we visited one of your facilities, and I was totally impressed with not only the quality of build, but the programs that were offered within the complex for tutoring for children and after-school programs. And you would walk around, you cannot tell the difference between an at-price apartment and an affordable. So I think this is really an idea that we have long awaited, and I think it's extremely, extremely good. I do have one question, and maybe the city manager can answer it, and maybe Noah can answer it. I love the idea of the bike and pedestrian path going along RCTC right of way, because that will beautify a whole lot of stuff. And I love the fencing idea. How are you going to get them across the street?
Crossing the street's going to use the traditional crosswalks at the intersections.
Okay, and painted green for the bicycles going across and all of that good stuff?
I think that particular portion, that hasn't necessarily been designed yet. I think there is a concept, and maybe Noah can elaborate on this a little bit.
And I
With-
assume we need Caltrans permission to go across Florida. They're our friends.
We would need to cross at the intersections at Florida, but there's one element on, is it Latham, Noah? Where we have the potential for a bulb out, is that Latham?
Yes.
Okay, so there is a potential for an enhanced crosswalk that would help facilitate transition across Latham, where the tracks cross, but it would be similar to that near an adjacent intersection, where it would help the pedestrians cross and bikes cross.
Yeah, because there's really not.
Shorten the distance and make it safer.
What?
It would shorten the distance at the crossing and make it safer.
Because I was just thinking this afternoon after we had talked about the safety factor, and it's like, oh, okay, that's really great. You get running or get on your bicycle and you just keep going, and all of a sudden, oops, you're in the side of a car. So just wanted to make sure that we were taking that safety factor into account. But I think this entire project is absolutely awesome, and we have worked long and hard with RTA on the mobility hub. That goes back quite a few years ago, and there was a lot of community outreach on that. That was all favorable. And I was amazed going through the pictures of remembering all of the meetings that we had at the Simpson Center and the storyboards and the information. It's the way you hold meetings with the community and get their support. So thank you. I'm in total support of this entire project.
Let me ask a question while you're up there, please. Since you brought up Mobility Hub, is that something that RCTC and RTA do, or will that be something that you're involved with? Or
Be the RTA.
and then also, when does that project start? Before or after the Palm facility is up and running?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Kristen Warsinski. I'm the CEO of RTA. Thanks for having me. So great questions. So the Mobility Hub would be RTA's responsibility. We have already done a conceptual plan. We need to do design, A&E, and then we would do construction. There's some construction money in this grant, should we get it, that would go towards the hub, but we also have federal and state funding that we would be bringing to the table and be using. So we would be building it on the city's land. The agreement of how that will all work hasn't been done yet. So we'd bring that back to them, I believe, at a later time. Yeah, Mark's nodding.
Okay, so you said, federal and state money, you said will be going into this. Is it already allocated for this project, or you have to pull it in?
It's already allocated.
It is allocated?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
great.
Councilmember Krupa took care of that some time ago.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, it would be our responsibility. And as far as timing, I think that would be up to how the group collectively decides that we want to time things. And if we want to do it together, we're ready. We're ready for the next phase of design as soon as we can. And so we'll be ready whenever the city thinks that it's appropriate, if you want to do it together or if we can just start.
Thank you.
So there'll be a 6-year, once the allocation, if we get the allocation in August, we'll have 6 years to complete all the improvements. So there'll be some contracts that'll have to be, agreements that'll have to be signed with the state, but then the city and RTA can work out their timing. But there is an endpoint. We just can't just dawdle around forever.
So we're looking at 2030 then.
That would be the outside.
And because
The outside. We
according to
would like to.
RENA, don't we have to have so many low-income homes already by 2029?
Right, I think from a grant performance perspective, it needs to be finished within 6 years, but we would endeavor to get started shortly after. I mean, all of this can begin after the grant is awarded. And so we're anticipating hearing back in August of 2024.
And we would look to start the housing in about June of 2025, sorry. I'm getting, so June next year, we would be starting and we would look at an 18 to 24 month construction and occupancy. So while it's 2030 is the end date, nobody wants to go out that long.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Nope.
Okay, I guess that's all the questions. Thank you. Oh, I guess it's up to me now. Well, thank you all for your presentations. Can I have a motion, please? And a second.
You
I'm not
can
gonna-
move staff recommendations.
I would love to make a motion that we approve staff recommendation 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
I'll second.
Matt.
I have a motion by Councilmember Krupa, second by Councilmember Kendrick. Council, please cast your votes. That motion passes 5-0.
Yeah, that is great.
Staff
That
recommendations.
is awesome. Okay, now we're to the city council and staff reports. And may I have council member Kendrick?
Thank you, Mayor. On February 29th, I did Read Across America at Little Lake Elementary, and I read Chief Sell's book that was just published late last year. I read to 5th graders. The book was well received, and I had every student sign it. It's actually a gift for my brand new grandson, so he's got Chief Sell inscribed it, and then all of the students signed it. So that was pretty exciting, and they really, really enjoyed that. And we took some gifts to them, some bracelets, pencils, crossword puzzles, fidget spinners. So it went over very, very well. On March 4th, I had the RCA meeting, and they did release the patches that they are doing for Project 146, and I briefly mentioned that previously. And so Project 146 is it's a Let's Get Outdoors and Earn Our 146 badge. This was a Girl Scout project, and it's basically an interactive and fun educational opportunity catered to grades K through 8. And it encourages students to spend time outdoors while learning about 146 different plant and animal species protected by the Multi-Species Habitat Conservation Plan, which is one of the largest plans in the county. And so they have some great looking patches. Like I said, I was a Girl Scout, and earning patches was, a rite of passage for me. So that was exciting. I also did a RCA 101 with the RCT director and mayor and Aaron Hoke. And the species highlighted is from February. I don't have a March one. I might have brought this up, but it's the majestic great blue heron. And let's they stalk their prey in western Riverside County. And let's see, okay, just getting some information on them. It's a skilled hunter that is frequently found near natural floodplains like Mystic Lake, the San Jacinto Wildlife Area, and the Santa Ana River Prado Basin, which are ideal for foraging grounds for the species. They may patiently stalk voles and gophers among fields or wade up to belly deep where it stealthily peers into slow-moving shallow water. I did attend the Cal League of Cities Planning Commissioners Academy. I did not attend that for the city of Hemet, but for my jurisdiction. But I do have to say we had 4 of our 5 planning commissioners there, and it was a great showing for Hemet. There's a lot of great information for our planning commissioners, and we did bounce a lot of the commissioners between my 2 jurisdictions bounced a lot of ideas off each other. So I thought it was really great. But I did want to kind of shout out to our Hemet planning commissioners because they really did kind of take all the information they received. On March 7th, I did the Healthy Valley Foundation listening tour. So I found that to be very helpful. That was a discussion with Jennifer O'Farrell. So that was really great, spending time talking with her about things that we can do to improve the city. And then on Saturday, I attended the library superhero camp and I read some superhero books to some of the young children there. It was really great. Kathy had all kinds of different programs there, Thor, hammer throwing. It was just amazing how many activities that the library had for our youth. So I thought that was great. And then Saturday night, I attended the police department awards ceremony. So I just want to kind of call out all the awards and recognize our police department. So for Officer Manuel Moreno, he received the most misdemeanor arrest at 97. Officer Christian Cooley got the most traffic citations written at 336. Officer Nicholas Renke had the most DUI arrests at 11. Detective Patrick Sobasek, he had 3 things, so I'm just going to list them all out. So he had the most firearms recovered, which was 14. He also had the police cross shooting involving gang task force, and he had the most felony arrest with 158. Our civilian employee of the year was Community Services Officer Dana Arrington. Our dispatcher of the year was Lacey Crouch. Our new police officer of the year was Officer Evangeline Cordero. Our officer of the year was Detective Jake Gomez. Supervisor of the year, Sergeant Matthew Hyatt. Life-saving medal stabbing victim for Officer Pedro Aguila. And then the life-saving medal for a baby not breathing incident was to Detective Brett Maynard and Officer Christian Cooley. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilmember Kendrick. Next will be Councilmember Krupa.
Okay. On Read Across America Day, I also went to Little Lake Elementary. I think we all made a showing over there. And I got to read to 3rd graders. I had 3 books to read to them, 2 of them on leap year and leap day, because I was reading to them on leap day. And then the 3rd one was Chief Eddie Sell's book, Fire Engine Fast Eddie. And when I got done with all of them, I said, which one's your favorite? Yeah, they liked the fire engine. But it was a lot of fun. They were interested. Some of them really didn't know what leap day and leap year were. So they got an education with 2 leapfrogs. Let's see, where are we here? The Hemet Public Library, and I'm going to remind us all about that they have a program going, collecting library cards from different cities and organizations other than Hemet. While we were sitting here, I actually sent Kathy one for my daughter in Maryland. So, and another one was for my niece in Montana. So I'm trying to collect as much, and all you need is just take a picture of it and send it to her and she'll put it on the wall. But it's to basically say libraries are everywhere, books are good, and to see reading across America or libraries across America, but this is libraries around the world. So if you have one from a foreign country, you're going to score points with our librarian. League of California Cities monthly meeting is coming up this Thursday, and the city of Corona is hosting that. On RCTC, we got an email the other day that the president has signed the fiscal year 24 appropriations bill. And this has what is called the community funding requests. This has to do with actually programs that are ready. They're kind of like shovel ready, which is what we're aiming for in what we're doing now. $5 million went to the Coachella Valley Rail Line from Ken Calvert, $4 million to the 91 eastbound corridor operations project from Representative Young Kim, and $500,000 to Metrolink double track from Moreno Valley to Paris from Mark Takano. What's important about this is all of those things are basically on paper, and you submit for grant funding, and if it's just pie in the sky, it's not going to get funded. But if there's basically almost shovel ready, then they take a lot of this into consideration. So that is absolutely awesome, because that also means that these are approved projects, and this type of funding releases other local funding that can be used for other projects. So it's really good. So going after grant money, and I'm thrilled that we approved so many grants tonight. And I'm going to remind one more time that we need to have a traffic relief plan presentation to council and the community, because that is coming up soon. The other thing was SCAG. Malcolm and I are on the transportation committee for SCAG, and we had a joint 3 policy committee meeting last Thursday, and we approved what is called Connect SoCal 2024, and that is the regional transportation plan and the sustainable communities plan going forward. It's for like a 10-year period of time, but it's a lot of work. What did they say? 1,600 pages. It is now going to go out for final EIR and review, and then the regional council will approve it in May. And at the regional council, there was a lot of discussion about reality, which has been happening at several of the last meetings of the electric grill, electric vehicles, how we do things, how we clean the air. Are the mandates and rules that are coming down from the state and the feds, are they actually attainable? And the overwhelming answer is no, they're not. So we had a presentation on goods movement. And the goods movement, of course, is trucking, railroads, and shipping. The interesting thing was that there was a representative from Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, and they're really going out of their way to see if they can produce energy other than diesel, although their diesel is extremely clean. But one of the things that they are now confronted with is that in a hybrid of hydrogen cell, electric, and diesel for push, because the other two don't create enough energy, that they have basically asked permission to refurbish some of their old engines with the new technology for power. And they have been told by the state of California that if you have an engine that's over 20 years, you will not even be able to use it in the state of California after a few years. And we don't care if you refurbish it or not. It's still 20 years old. So buy a new one. I mean, we are just shooting ourselves in the foot every time we turn around. We are not thinking of unintended consequences. And then something that I thought really interesting was part of the conversation was about street and road infrastructure with electric vehicles and the increased weight and the damage that already is being done because of the weight of electric vehicles. And if we electrify all of these things, what is going, our bridges, our streets, our parking garages, all of these things are now starting to surface in conversations. And don't have any answers, but I'll tell you what, it's really interesting, but it's really good to know that in Skag, which is a 6-county region, everybody is now looking at it and saying these goals are not realistic. So with that, stay tuned.
Thank you. We're gonna have to skip you next. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Hey, I was about to, she already said everything.
I know.
So go ahead.
You don't have a report?
Good, but she said it all.
Okay.
You've got to have other things that you took notes on that I didn't from Skag.
So
Good meeting.
the discussion emphasized the shift from family supporting wage to living wage. And it assured that the plan was going to meet these GH emission reduction targets. And they had a significant amount of feedback. So they were talking about feedback on the draft rate planning that was addressed. So leading to the addition of new chapters and then those minor text adjustments. And then they talked about the comments that were made with the adjustments to the mobility goals, the transportation projects, and then those planning strategies, like she had mentioned. And then there was a certification of the regional plan and the specific edits that were also discussed. And then there were concerns about the population projections and then the urgency of road pricing, because the longer we wait on projects, the more costly it is when they're sitting on the books like that, not being worked on. So at one point where a road would cost $1 million, several years later, it would be like 3 million if projects are held up. But at the same time, if projects are, a lot of times the projects that are held up for specific, like important reasons. And so sometimes we're seeing that some of these initiatives that are being proposed overlook some of these unintended consequences because we're trying to save some money. So then we end up hurting ourselves down the line anyway. And so they were addressing some of those ecological concerns and the thinking about the population stability and then integrating the autonomous vehicles into the public transit. Those kinds of things were discussed in the report. And then improvements in public transportation, focusing on safety. And it's almost like they keep saying the same thing over and over again, but you don't see it. So they talked about improvements in public transportation. We're not experiencing it. Focusing on safety, we're not experiencing it. Efficiency, we're not experiencing it. And then better options to increase riderships. Those kinds of things were debated. And then the meeting concluded with a moment of silence for, I don't remember his name.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, Councilmember Peterson.
The first Monday in March, I went to the WRCOG meeting in Riverside, and there was a program that will directly affect our San Jacinto Hemet Valley. And so I get the details right on this. I want to read it. So this is called the Clean Mobility Options Program, and I'll refer to it as a program, okay? So through the Clean Mobility Options Program, WRCOG was awarded a 1.5 million grant to support the deployment of zero-emission community car share vehicles in the sub-region. The project will deploy 15 vehicles across the cities of Corona and Moreno Valley and the San Jacinto Valley, in which residents can rent a vehicle hourly using a mobile application. Grant funding would support an initial 15-month planning and engagement period and 4 subsequent years of program operation. The CMO program administrator requested that WRCOG adopt a resolution to accept the voucher agreement, reiterate CMO program commitment, and ensure compliance with CMO program requirements. So this is a new concept, and we were one of 3 regions that were selected for it. And I think it's great because, as we know, there's a lot of people in our city that don't have transportation like they would like. And, you know, it's expensive to own a vehicle. So if they can rent a vehicle that's owned and operated by somebody else, I think it's a great thing for our area. So we were pretty excited about that.
How will they get to will it be delivered to them?
You know, I'm not sure of all the details on that because the program is going to operate it. So I'm not sure how they're going to do that yet, but at least it's moving forward. So, you know, as I get more information, I'll be sure and pass it along to everybody. So I thought that was pretty neat program. So, I went to the Ramona Bowl meeting again, and, I want to keep promoting that the plays are coming up. It's the 3 weekends of the plays, the main shows that are starting on April 21st for Saturday, Sunday for 3 weekends. And the shows start at 3:30. We have a brand new sound system up there, and everybody's really excited about the cast this year. They said that they're just, the director's just saying rehearsals are great and everybody's working together so well. And he's really excited about it, as the board members are in that too. So along with that, they're planning a lot more tribute concerts up there. They need to make money. If you know anybody that has money that would like to donate it to a good cause for the community, the Ramona Bowl has a lot of repairs that they need done and to bring everything up to speed. So they're going to have a lot of tribute concerts. And then there's a country singer named Brent Payne, and he will be here the 2nd week of July. And then they have a brand new concept for October. There's a company that will come out and they'll do everything. They're going to provide bands, they're going to provide food venues, and they're going to give a percentage of the ticket price to the bowl. So there will be very little planning that the bowl personnel need to do, and this company is going to handle almost all of it. So that'll be different, and it's pretty exciting from what I heard. So, and it's been very successful in other cities, so we're hoping for that. So, and I read for Hemet Beautiful. I mean, I stole your thunder. I read for Rita. I flip-flopped. I read for Read Across America also. So I went to Little Lake, and Linda had the 3rd graders and I had the 4th graders, and boy, did they ask a lot of questions. You know, but they were very engaged, and they were asking all kinds of questions and stuff. And I read Kippy the Kangaroo, the WRCOG book about the kangaroo rat. So they thought that was pretty cool, and they had a lot of questions on the rat and all that kind of stuff. So, and I also went and read at the library, and I had a pretty good little audience there and read the same book there. So, and I attended some of the same events, so I won't bore you with all of those. But yeah, we've had a couple of busy weeks, and it's good to get out